Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is Sticky Media Productions. 2018, this is a good year for horror.
Ain't it though?
Wow.
There hasn't been a year since that has came out with so many good projects and movies or television or streaming service as it is that's actually produced something this astounding to just witness. I mean, I'm loving it. People are finally giving horror its due justice. It's not just a throwaway medium or genre. You can't just go into it expecting anybody can just like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who's out there still that horror is probably not their thing. But if this new year and this new generation is proving is that it's not just a genre that is only meant for Halloween or just a good scare. You can really
Not that
work.
Halloween is a really good
True.
horror.
It's more on the lines that just like any drama or romance or action flick or fantasy, you can tell a really convincing story.
Yes, and already in 2018 we've had A Quiet Place, Hereditary,
Oh God.
and Annihilation, even though it's more of a sci-fi film, it has some horror moments in there.
To me, it feels more of a horror film than anything, but at the same time, it's definitely got a sci-fi roots in it.
And Netflix is 2018 for Netflix is clearly the standout for horror. And hopefully we'll be able to get a review for one of their newest shows.
The Haunting of Hill House. Oh my God,
yes.
I loved this season. It was really well. It's probably one of the best ghost stories or ghost style movies or shows out there that I've seen in a very long time. So yeah, at some point we really do need to just get that one out for you guys.
Yeah, but right now the focus is on Halloween 2018.
Well, if there's anything I could say about this film is that it definitely makes me more interested in the franchise. Specifically, this was one of those movies, because this is supposed to be, it's not a remake at all. This is really a supposedly direct sequel to the first movie.
It's a new alternate spin.
Yeah, they throw out everything else that came after one. No, even Halloween Part 2, which was a direct sequel of Halloween, that has no premise on this film. Yeah. This is really just the first movie Halloween, and now, ironically, Halloween.
Can we just
2018?
Oh yeah, let's just talk about this. Like, okay, nothing against this movie before we get into the review.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally the third time, and for this franchise that now there's this Halloween in the name. Like, yeah, it's weird.
Oh, then
just name it as a sequel. Distinguish it as a sequel.
Yeah.
In the name title, but other than that, let's focus on what we can do with what's actually presented to us. And what we get from a story standpoint is super flash forward.
Yeah, like jarring actually to extent.
Like it does pay homage to the original movie.
There are a lot of great Easter eggs and nods towards what the first film did and what it meant.
Put in like a quick wink nod to other films in the franchise, and also basically telling its own story, and also flipping some certain content that was presented in previous films, but now is clarified in this new continuity.
This movie takes time to clarify itself, specifically on very specific points. Don't want to go into details of exactly what it's trying to say. It's trying to clarify.
And the movie does try and address the fact that what is the reason why Michael goes after her, and it's like a constant
it's like a big overarching question as to who is Michael Myers and why is he doing the things he's doing. Yeah, there's a character in this that's a big thing for. Yeah. But actually, a couple of characters it was a big thing for. But going back into it, the idea behind Michael Myers as a serial killer in this new day and age, and for this particular movie, he doesn't miss the beat. No, this man goes on a killing spree from start to finish.
Yeah, if anything that this movie is, on a horror standpoint, is relentless.
Yeah, that's the main word I would use to describe the intensity behind Michael Myers in this flick.
There's a sense of urgency right off the bat. Like this movie does not hold your hand on anything. Though I would have to admit that to its discredit, I do think that this movie would have benefited a lot more if it did had bring back that atmosphere from the first film.
Yeah, there's on atmosphere. Well, here's the thing: this movie does have a lot of atmosphere for its, to its credit. There is a definite sense, but it's more like there's this specific part to the atmosphere that is missing from this film that would have carried over astonishingly well for the story element behind the film. And you'll know it if you've seen the first film and certain other parts of the franchise, but it's definitely missing, and it's not like it's apparent that it's missing, but it's like it's one thing that could have definitely carried forward.
Yeah.
Then there's also the point that this film has a problem as far as character development for at least 3 specific characters.
Yes, these characters, even though they come off as very likable people.
Actually, there's quite a few likable characters in this film. Actually, for a horror film in general, most people are just you'll automatically understand who's going to die, and you'll just not care about it. Or the only time you will care about it is you get to see their deaths. This is a case of where these are good people, or at least decent individuals that you wouldn't mind.
There's some flaws with some of them, and of course Laurie, and also some mad families and whatnot. But what did also surprised me about this movie, on a good note, is that this actually feels more like an ensemble.
Yeah, it wasn't just Michael Myers or Laurie. It really felt as though you're telling the story for a couple of characters. But then that's also the downfall to it too, as far as it tries to talk about those characters, but because they don't go into depth about, especially the time difference between this film and the other, there is definitely a sense of absence in this, at least for their stories. Laurie, even though I can understand where she is at right now in her life,
it would have been good to know how,
the development of her going into that character.
Stressing that fact that she's...
They give you parts of it, but it's not enough. And then there's her daughter.
Yes.
And it's like, there's a big missing part to her life that would have been definitely appreciated to see. And of course, there's Michael.
Yeah. But with all that said, what this movie really does, that pretty much solidifies this Halloween aspect, is the production. This movie, even though it's a horror film, people tend to get away from horror films because of how gory or how, or not as intense.
Either it's going to be torture porn, or it's just going to be a stupid fright fest, and it's like, no, not in this film. This film, they do it respectfully. There is some definitely jarring deaths in here, or just moments or sequences that can be definitely very gruesome.
Yeah.
But it's not to extent that it's too much to handle. It's actually it happens and then it moves on. Yet again, folks, we're keeping it the whole point that this movie is relentless. We're not taking time to just lament on one death or one sequence of killing. No, it's back to back to back to back to back to back.
You just really somebody stop this person.
Yeah, it's really that's really, and that's one aspect to the character they definitely anticipated on here, and how unstoppable and how dangerous he is as a killing machine. He is a literal killing machine, and that's something that the franchise itself it touches upon it in some films more than it does in others. But this whole idea that Michael Myers isn't. If that's the part that this film actually anticipated, this is the part that I think we could both agree that in this film they stress the fact that Michael Myers is not really there. The character of Michael Myers is a mask. He was never really a person. He was really just an instrument. That's it. He is an instrument for death.
Yes, and part of the way how they help emphasize it. Okay, nobody's not really talking much about this aspect of the film, but I want to give very good praise to John Carpenter, who's coming back to not only to produce, but he brought back himself
to score the film.
Yes.
The music in this film fits the franchise like a glove. It is amazing. Not only are you getting callbacks to the original score that he did in the first film, but he also added new parts to the score that fit the franchise and actually intensify the horror.
And I also want to talk about the editing in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I would like to have known that this movie is like fill in some gaps.
Definitely give you a sense to the how many years was supposed to
40.
40 years that take place between this film and the first film. It's like I wish I would have got even more sense to just how much time really has passed and what has happened during that time period. But at the same time, even though it didn't do all that, you still got a good sense towards the now.
Yeah, it's very in the moment type scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
The editing reflects that like heavily, and the fact that they do some interesting choices in which how it emphasizes certain moments, like it's like the good side, like certain like it calls that the psycho a little bit.
Yeah.
In certain respects, and there's of course like some standout camera movements that also complements the editing as well.
Yes.
That also feel like helps bring that character that of Michael Myers.
I definitely agree. But as always, I mean, so it really comes down to this: the movie was a really good film, but there are parts to this that would have made it even great to make it even a great film, or dare I say, even an amazing film, and that would have been, of course, getting to know those characters even better throughout that 40-year jump.
Yes.
There's character arcs and at least character development that wasn't there in this film that would have really definitely helped it, and also the atmospheric elements that the first film had that this film kind of lacked a little bit.
Yeah.
This film definitely is atmospheric, but there are parts to that atmosphere that could have been intensified with just adding, like I said, just watching the first film and understanding what they did in that film and then transferring even more of that into this one would have made it even better.
Yes. And I do have to agree. So far, it's a really good movie. Like there's gonna be mixed thoughts depending on how you receive horror.
Yeah.
But other than that, this is a really good film to go out and watch and have your own opinions on it. With all that being said, you hear what we think about this movie. And by all means, watch the rest of our videos that we have on this channel. We are going to make a good playlist from the horror movies that we have seen as well. And also, make sure that you can check out our newest web series, The Stranger Zone.
Now we're going into even darker territory. Folks, this has been a labor of love for us. This is something we were trying to get out as quickly as possible, but we've managed to at least get the first episode out there. Please check it out. I feel as though if you're a fan for horror movies or certain franchises like The Twilight Zone, this is really going to be something you might enjoy. But as always,
my name's Adam.
And I'm Aaron. Please come back next time. If you want notifications, please hit that little bell.
Like, share, subscribe. We want you to know that we have content for you. But as always, thank you for watching.
See ya.